holy.
Well, I'm excited to start a new year off with all of you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And many happy returns to us all. We started New Year's with New Year's Eve, Wednesday morning, our 7 a.m. meditation. And then, how many were here for that? That was a sweet, sweet time. And then in the evening, we did our musical meditation of Burning Bowl. Who was here for that? Yeah, it was a nice way to start the new year, wasn't it? I'm just delighted to be here. I'm always a little bit relieved when the holidays are over. It's like you said, Doug, move on. It's time to move on. I like that moment. It's great to start another glorious new year with you. I always start my new year, and winter's about introspection for me. I tend to go in a little bit deep and sort things out and think about things that I haven't thought about for a while. And so I'm going to share with you some of the introspecting that I've been doing and take a deep look at something that's been my passion for a long time, and that is our relationship to Mother Earth. We celebrate it every quarter with our Church of the Earth. And as I've been thinking about where we are in relationship to Mother Earth, the story of the Ten Commandments came to my mind. It's one of my favorite Bible stories, how they came to be, you know. It's a fascinating journey that began with Moses, and I know most of us think of Moses as the guy who parted the Red Sea and delivered the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. And yes, he did all that. But he also brought to us the Ten Commandments that are listed in Deuteronomy and also in Exodus. How many of us memorized the Ten Commandments when we were children? Karen, yes, me too, me too. We're going to see if we can remember. What's the first one? Thou shalt not have any other gods before me. Come on now. I have them written down. No graven idols, no idols. No cuddling? What was that? Coveting. Oh, no cuddling. Right. Yes, that's in there too. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Remember the Sabbath. Keep it holy. Honor your father and mother. You shall not kill. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. And the last one is you shall not covet. I mean, it's a good list, isn't it? It's a really good list of things to do or not do to get along with people around you, I think. Boy, and it's really withstood the test of time. So I'm going to talk about that, how it came about, but I'm going to start my story with Moses when God first got Moses' attention. You know the story about him being sent downriver in the little reed boat and found by the Pharaoh's daughter and raised. And well, right now he's tending the sheep of his father-in-law Jethro, and he's walking along, and all of a sudden he sees this thing. And it looks like a bush that's on fire. And out of the corner of his eye, he notices, but it's not going anywhere. It's not being consumed. So there's something a little unreal about this burning bush. And he says, aha, I'm going to turn aside and take a look at this. So out of this bush comes this voice, or I would interpret that as the inner voice, and Moses started to speak and telling him all of this stuff that he wants him to do. He says, I am the Lord your God, and I hear my people in despair. They need me to come down there and lead them to the land of milk and honey. And Moses, you're just the guy to do it. And Moses said, I'm the guy? How could I be the guy? And God says, don't worry, I'll be there with you. And so Moses kind of hems and haws around a little bit more, and finally he said, no, I cannot be the guy. You cannot mean me. I stutter, he tells God. I stutter. And God says, So? So Moses was called to be this one, to lead his people out of darkness and slavery. Wow. And he says, don't we all have a story like that? But I'm too little to do that. I'm too little to be the one. I'm too old. I'm too tired. My list goes on and on and on and on. The reasons why I can't be the one. But that's the call. And I think every one of us have had a moment like that. Maybe not so dramatic, but certainly where we're being touched on, we're getting the tap saying, come on now. Set it all aside. You're the one. It's what we teach, So Moses got the message, and God helped him convince the Pharaoh to let him go, and they left, and the seas parted, and they got through. So we pick up the story again after they've been wandering around the desert for a little while. And things hadn't been going so well for them. They were a grumpy people. They were a stiff-necked people, as they like to say over and over in the Bible. And they always had something to say about everything. And can you blame them? They just came out of being reigned by a really cruel Pharaoh. They didn't know what their culture was. They didn't have a culture. They were just a bunch of people who knew nothing. And they were stuck together out in the desert going, well, where do we go now? What do we do now? How are we going to eat? How are we going to feed ourselves? At least the Egyptians fed us, So Moses has got a real mess on his hands. And so he goes up on the mountain to talk to God, the highest place where he can get up there and look down and see what's really happening. And they're acting out. They're really acting out. They're doing all manner of stuff, like when you leave the kids at home for a weekend. You know what they're doing, only this was worse. Who knows what was going on down there. So Moses is up talking to God, and God is giving him endless instructions on how to create a civilization. And so Moses said, but look at them. They're acting out, God. What do I do with this people, this stiff-necked people? And God says, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll write something in stone for you. And you can take it back, and you can teach this as the way to civilize your people. And so he did. And down comes the mountain carrying these two big rocks. And on them are written all of the commandments, the 10 commandments of God, as we just went through. And they've been a beautiful blueprint for creating early civilization. It's a great way to raise your family. Don't kill people. Don't steal each other's stuff. This is a good blueprint for getting along together in the world. And as I thought about this, I thought, really, we don't need anything beyond that, The 10 Commandments. So, and most of us have really caught on to them. Most of us have learned to live that way. We don't kill people. We don't steal people's stuff. We don't lie much. And, well, I will admit that I do covet from time to time. But for the most part, we're catching on to these pretty well. So the ideas came to me that, maybe there's room for more commandments. Maybe we could add a few more. Now, there's precedence for doing that, too. When you read the chapter 20 in Deuteronomy is the deliverance of the 10 Commandments. And then it goes on. There's a couple more chapters of new commandments. And it's like each generation tacked on their own little list. The next one is about how to buy and sell people. Yes, this was a slaveholding community. And how to, what you should expect if you sell your daughter for a handmaiden. What to do to the ox that gores somebody. I loved that one. You stone it to death and nobody gets to eat it, but the owner gets away for free. I thought that was such an interesting measure. So, all through history, these have been tacked on, I think. That's what it looks like to me. So I feel pretty good about tacking on my own. See no reason for that. So I found the highest place that I could find to look down on humanity today, And it's pretty high up. It's from this perspective. And I imagine myself talking to God and saying, God, they're acting out again. All over the globe, we're acting out. We're doing all the stuff that we learned not to do, only we're doing it as a global entity, not as individuals anymore. So how do we address the global entity that we're becoming? Because we can't help it. That's who we're becoming, right? There's no escaping the fact that we are a global community now. So I wonder what God has to say now about us. Not that I'm putting God out there in the sky. I'm not. That's not what we teach here. We teach that God is the burning bush inside saying, hey, wake up. Hey, wake up. Hey. So there I am standing up there looking down on collective reality of life on earth and saying things are a little stressed. All around the globe, there are wars and unimaginable poverty and hunger and cruelty and all of that stuff. The imbalance of wealth is staggering. The predictions are dire for us. Thich Nhat Hanh teaches that in 100 years, human beings will be extinct. Take that one in for a second. And then let go of it. Let go of it. If ever we needed something written in stone, it seems like now would be the time. So I started thinking about 10 new commandments that works for everyone. And my intention is not to tell you how awful the condition of the world is. That is not what I'm here to do. I am here to share spiritual practices and ideas about what you and I can do to help our beautiful blue planet survive, and to share with you the good news of millions of people at a grassroots level that are actively participating in the healing and returning of our planet to a state of grace. That's what we're going to be looking at over the next 10 weeks. So don't run in fear. It's not scare tactics. It's not Isaiah on the mountain saying, you brood of vipers. It is, let's celebrate the good work that's going on, because what we know is what we focus on increases. So if we focus on the increasing dire problems, what is going to multiply? Yes, those problems and the misery that goes along with witnessing them. But if we can focus on the other parts of things that are going on and find some places to celebrate and activate our own love for the planet, our own excitement, our own deep spiritual activism, then we will have accomplished something for this winter. So there's this wonderful new movement that I'm just beginning to read about. It hasn't even got a name yet. It's so diversified. But Paul Hawken brought it together. He's I can't remember what he is, but he's an author. He wrote this wonderful book, and he calls it Blessed Unrest. Blessed unrest that's going on in the hearts of millions, probably billions of people on the planet right now. It's a self-organizing, self-healing mechanism of Mother Earth. That's the way he's looking at it in this book. And I'm excited about that. It seems like a journey worthy of sharing. When we ask if he is pessimistic or optimistic about the future of the world, Paul Hawkins replies, if you look at the science that describes what is happening on Earth today and you aren't pessimistic, you don't have the correct data. If you meet the people in this unnamed movement and aren't optimistic, you haven't got a heart. So here we are in the land of paradox one more time, my friends. We focus on the good parts. So my new 10 commandments, there's one that can sum them all up, and I'll give that one to you today, and that is hold everything sacred. I think that that's what underlies the original 10. Hold everything sacred. As we collectively add to the work of many millions of people in the resacralizing of our planet. But today I want to honor the first 10 commandments because they've really served us well. And virtually every religion, every culture in the universe has absorbed, or in the world, has absorbed some of these to some degree or the other. I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt have no false gods before me. There is a force of life within each of us, a presence of something that makes us alive and intelligent. This is the most important thing. So don't be thinking there's anything more important. Not your job, not your money, not your partner, not your children, not your time. Call it whatever you will. Universal spirit, perhaps. The divine intelligence that permeates everything, everyone, everywhere. Let nothing come before it in importance. No graven images or idols either. Not on television, not in sports, not even your stock portfolio. Don't worship things and stuff or people. These are all ways to take our eye off the ball, the real deal. Spirit emerging. And spirit emerges through every single thing that we know, that we see. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. This is serious stuff. If you take an oath in the name of God, in the name of life itself, you need to mean it. You need to mean it. No more sanctimonious righteousness. It's time to live as spirit, not to pretend. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Take time for spirit. Make time in your week to commune with the life force that indwells you. Spiritual practice is the most important thing we can do. Honor your father and mother. Family and tribe is important, and we're all related. We all come from the same family. We all come from the same mother and father over time. You shall not kill. Life is a precious thing. You shall not commit adultery. I think that means more than the obvious. To me, it means don't sneak around. Don't cheat. No dirty little secrets. You shall not steal. Don't take each other's stuff. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Don't tell lies. Just don't do it. You shall not covet. I love this. God's coming back and saying, I really mean it. Don't even think about taking your neighbor's stuff. Because, my friends, you and I are the ones. No one else is coming to do this work for us. And look at all the burning bushes that are around us. Ferguson, Sandy Hook, the extinction of the polar bears, the possible extinction of the polar bears. They're all around these burning bushes, and there'll be a different one for each of us, I think, that touches on that blessed unrest inside. Spirit calling out for you and me, trying to get our attention. So each of us has our own built-in system for fending off the one. I'm too old, I'm too young, what do I know, who, me? Well, what do I mean by being the one? Well, being the one is the one who shows up to care. As I thought about the attribute of caring, there's only one place in the universe that we know the feeling of caring to show up, and that's in the intelligent heart. Notice I didn't just restrict it to human beings, but there's a heart intelligence that must be present in order for caring to happen. And the only place the place where I am is where human meets divine. Divine can't do it without me. Divine cannot do it without you. Caring. Being the one who genuinely cares enough and actively seeks to do the work of healing and reconciliation instead of sitting around complaining about it and saying somebody should do something about this. That's being the one. So we come up with, I had something there to say, but I hid it behind this other page. Let me just check here. There we go. So we come up with every excuse in the book about it, and still God looks at us and says, and really, that's an excuse? There are no excuses. So with that, next week we're going to start in with the 10 new commandments. And just know I'm taking a light approach to this, that I don't really believe I can carve things in stone, but I can give you some ideas. You can write your own 10 commandments. So I wanted to just end with the Emma Curtis Hopkins that we read earlier, because it's so beautiful. By the study of spirit, we become acquainted with spirit and realize that men and women on the streets of restlessness are spirit. They are, in truth, walking secrets of the splendor of God. So with that, let's go into prayer. As we just remember a little more deeply who we have come here to be. That we emanate, we well up from a divine source. That source of life, of love, of abundance, joy, love, peace. There's only one. Like a beautiful fiber optic lamp, we are each little points of light coming off of a central light. And that light is all the power of the universe, all the presence of the universe. The one in whom we all share our oneness and our uniqueness. So I know myself and I know each of us here to be a unique offspring of the one light, bringing to this beautiful world we live in our peculiar way of seeing and understanding the world, the unique fashion in which we celebrate our own lives, and the unique way in which we grieve our pains. Each of us is here together as a member of the one body of God. I celebrate that today. I accept that on a deeper level than I've ever known it before, and I accept it on behalf of everyone hearing my voice and those beyond. Those who are beginning this wake-up call of 2015, saying, whispering to us, it's a new year. It's a new you. New opportunities to see things with fresh eyes, with healed vision, to behold the world in a different way than I've ever seen it before. I pledge to do that. I commit to doing that. My New Year's resolution, to see differently. So I just open my heart in expanded gratitude for this beautiful center, for all of the people here, all of the people who bring their gifts and their talents to this organization, who show up saying yes on Sunday morning. I'm so grateful for the people in my life, and particularly this center, this community of hardworking, hard-loving people. I'm so grateful for this.